Every single one of these books are story-driven, not monotonous, not boring and stale to read. These are fun reads that incorporate science and just nature in general. This has to be hands down one of my most requested videos that I have basically not and refused to touch entirely, and that is books about gardening and science-based ones that, you know, work, make sense, that sort of thing. I personally, in my personal opinion, love books. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I love books. I read an obscene amount. But when it comes to scientific literature books, if you will, there is a limit to their usefulness in and if you have some scientific rigor as what you vibe with, if you will. So for me personally, I believe heavily in scientific rigor. I believe that if we would have just thought bloodletting was the cure to a number of different diseases and we stopped there and we didn't question that at all, we'd still be bloodletting. So the purpose of science is to constantly prove ourselves wrong and to think and cook up new ideas. In my opinion, there are some scientists out there that are incredibly dogmatic and they believe that is the rules and the rules apply and we can't argue them, which is great. Those people need to exist too. It's how the science world goes. But because of that, I don't love books that are very hardcore. So I have a ton of field books, for example. These are all university books. These are what you use in the field of plant, soil, ecology, science. These are field books. These make sense to me. Owning these work. Okay, so that's field book. To own a organic chemistry book or to own a soil microbiology book, the editions will change, and they do change. I mean, some people are on like their 8th or 9th edition because things are always evolving, and that's wonderful, but to me, it just doesn't serve a purpose for reading. Not only that, but those books are dry. They're dry and monotonous to read, and there's no fun, zero fun in those books. I'm gonna give you 5 books that I believe have a sweeping image of science and plants with like an artistic twist, if you will. So they're not just a formula and stated facts. There is a story with them, and those are the ones that I personally love to read, get on my Kindle. Those are the ones I'm gonna give you. The non-dry, the fun ones that I do believe bridge the gap between yourself and the plant world or the soil world, if you will. If you don't like fun stories and you like very boring textbooks, then this video is not for you. So the first one is The Science of Gardening, How Your Garden Really Grows. And this one is done by a medical doctor. Now, he does a number of different books. And the reason for this is because he is what people refer to as a science bridge gapper, if you will. So he takes his ability to read journals, peer-reviewed edits, and takes that information and regurgitates it in a way that people can understand. And that's not because he thinks that people are dumb. He probably honestly thinks that the scientists are dumb because of the way that they word things and they just want to feel special. It's an expensive piece of paper, okay? So he takes their inputs and he applies them into books that are readable. Now, his specifically actually go over the different myths and debunking or giving validity to a number of different ones that have been prevalent through all of time. And so because of that, I do find this book to be ageless, solely because every single hack is going to exist forever. I still hear about the trichomes on tomatoes being roots and just eggs being able to increase calcium within the same year. There's a lot of crazy out there, and this guy is able to translate it in a fun, digestible manner. The next one is Leanda Lynn Hayput. I don't know how to say it, but anyways, her book is named Rooted, and it's Rooted Life at the Crossroads of Science, Nature, and Spirit. So this one is, again, storytelling, and just it's an engaging book. So what she does is she takes science and she applies it in a very creative way to nature and plants and soil and just the human experience. So in this, I find personally that it gives you a really good perspective on how we need to kind of respect what Mother Nature does and take notes from her. So I will say often, for example, with my seed starting video, I mentioned how having a fan on 24 hours the entire time, Mother Nature would not be blowing the bejeebus out of these poor little seedlings. Indefinitely, it would shut off at night, if you will. So that's a great way to look at Mother Nature and to kind of apply what she's doing to the real world. And she links basically how science is just mimicking what Mother Nature does. It's a great book. If you read this and you kind of take away from it what she's giving you tool-wise, you'll be able to look at your garden, and regardless of what your garden is, vegetable, flower, you name it, and you'll be able to apply the rules of Mother Nature to this, and very quickly you will see how if you literally just mimic her, you will be successful, regardless of how smart you are. So this one's a nice, really beautiful, nice book to read. Next one is The 50 Plants That Changed the Course of History by Bill Laws. So this one is interesting because it actually goes through historically plants and which ones we've chosen to cultivate and why. And it doesn't just go into food, it actually goes into the use of it in cosmetics or in herbal remedies, you name it. It's basically the 50 plants that helped us propel our world ahead, medically, eating wise, you name it. And it brings up some that you definitely don't think about. Like you think of it and you're like, okay, corn and wheat, but this one talks about ones that you just wouldn't think were a part of history and made a big difference, but in reality they did. It also talks about selective breeding and how we can select what we want or characteristics we want, and how we actually began to shape our world based off of the seeds that we chose and that sort of thing. So I guess our first trial run at changing Mother Nature and her rules. Next up, we have Botney for Gardeners. I gotta check who this is written by though, hold on. Brian Capone, An Introduction to the Science of Plants. So this one is drier, but botany is one of those forms of science, if you will, that are going to remain relatively unchanged and very likely are not going to move in any capacity, because a seed is a seed, an ovum is an ovum, the petals are a petal. And so botany is one of those kind of firmed up sciences for the most part. And so because of that, I do think that it's a great choice, because once you understand the purpose of petals on a flower, or the purpose of the stamen or the anthers of a flower, the purpose of leaves, you can determine kind of what's best for your plants. So should you prune or not? Well, you can learn botany-wise what leaves are most important or most integral to the uptake of sunlight, for example. So this one is a much drier version, and it's obviously not for beginners, but this is like an example of what you could expect in that book. I have it on Kindle, and I don't know Kindle's rules as to whether or not I'm allowed to show you parts of the book, but this is not on Kindle, so I will show you this. So this is allium, for example. I don't know if it's showing up, but allium obviously is in the garlic family, and this is kind of just botany at its finest. So it goes through the growth habits, the blades, which are the leaves, inflorescence, kind of all that sort of stuff. And this is just a giant one of those. So it's a fun one. Like I said, it's a little bit drier, but if you can understand what makes a plant work, it's much easier to make judgment calls on what's going on. It also helps you become a little bit better at identifying what's normal versus what's not. So what is just an environmental change or factor, so for example, leaves drooping or going up, and how you can correct that, versus something that's actually serious and you need to pivot quickly for. So great book, a little bit drier, but still a good read. The next one is Light Eaters: The Unseen World of Plant Intelligence Offers a New Understanding on life on Earth. So this one is good, really good. It's $0 if you have Kindle Unlimited, which is wonderful. And to be honest, as a paperback, it's on sale right now. It's like, yeah, it's not that much money, but this book I like a lot. This book I like. It just came out last year around springtime, which is a great time to actually have this, have it come out. But so this book is brand spanking new. It came out in May of 2024, and it already has 4.6 stars on Goodreads, and it has 3,293 votes to make it that high. So this is a book that essentially goes through how plants navigate the world intelligently. It's a little sci-fi in the sense that it talks and it alludes to, you know, it has a discussion about whether plants need us or not. So one, obviously, the 50 Plants That Changed History book is talking about how humans have changed plants and done things with plants. This is talking about what plants would do without us and how they would evolve, and etc. and so forth, along with including the science behind certain mechanisms and why plants do what they do. So it brings a new light to how, I guess, intelligent the plant is, like how intricate it is, all the different bits and bobs, all the moving pieces that have to take place for a plant to do what a plant does. My light went out and my camera died all at the same time. So again, this book is not dry. It's actually quite fun to read. It's interesting. It tells a story, etc. and so forth. Now, if you want like just a blanket publisher to go with, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably number one. This is a book that's very haggard, but Lone Pine, I think they're a Canadian company. I'm not entirely sure, but this book was $29.95 in June of 2012 from the University of Saskatchewan bookstore. Fun fact. Lone Pine does a ton of different books, and I really like all of them. They are dry, but there's a lot of information in these things. So they have different ones about different stuff. This one obviously is about Western boreal forest plants for pretty much all of Canada, because I did a lot of stuff in forest soil applications. But yeah, this is taking me back. But anyways, yeah, these are really good. And like I said, you can get a bajillion different types of these, and they're all very factual, all very accurate. Universities use them to put into perspective, but they're not university textbook price. They're normal price. Yeah, they're not hundreds of dollars, which is pointless. So anyways, I hope this helped you get some reading, blood flowing for the rest of these colder months, until the sunshine comes out and greets us with her wonderfulness once more. So I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.